The offseason has barely kicked off, and already a seismic shock has erupted in the heart of the AFC West, sending tremors across the entire NFL landscape. The exit of Joe Thuney, a cornerstone of the Chiefs' offensive line and four-time Super Bowl champion, isn't just a trade, it's a calculated earthquake, a foundational shift that has rattled the trenches and sparked a critical question in the minds of fans everywhere. Who will shield Patrick Mahomes now? The answer remains in flux, taking shape behind closed doors, fueled by bold decisions and whispered negotiations. The prevailing sense? A power shift looms on the horizon. With division rivals loading up, the margin for error has vanished. One wrong move could be the difference between another championship parade or an early playoff collapse. And if you're one of those fans who lives and breathes every snap, this video is your war room. To the red and gold faithful, this is coming straight from the heart, the kind of passion that roars even during preseason reps. Before we reveal the hidden mechanics behind this pivotal shakeup, do us a solid, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Would you place your trust in a proven veteran or invest in the rising young talents battling to earn their spot in the trenches? Analysts are divided, and your voice is part of the movement. We're building a tribe of Chiefs diehards, a community that doesn't just watch the games, but dissects the salary cap, scrutinizes every rumor, and rides the highs and lows with unshakable devotion. If you've ever yelled your lungs out at Arrowhead or cursed a missed block from your couch, this channel was built for you. Today's episode is packed with hard intel, red-hot speculation, and game-changing scenarios that could define the 2024 season. Let's dive in. It all began when the Chiefs made a daring, emotionally tough call, trading Joe Thuney to the Chicago Bears. Thuney wasn't just a name on a depth chart, he was the anchor, the technician, the silent guardian of Mahomes' blindside. In return, a fourth-round pick and crucial cap relief. The Bears wasted zero time inking Thuney to a 2-year, $35 million 0 cents deal that could balloon to $51 million 0 cents, a clear statement about his value. Behind the scenes, the truth becomes clearer. Keeping both Thuney and Trey Smith was financially impossible. With the Chiefs entering late June with less than $1 million 0 cents in cap flexibility, sacrifices were inevitable. Now, a new blueprint is unfolding. Trey Smith, one of the most dependable forces on the interior line, received the franchise tag, putting his 2024 cap hit north of $23 million 0 cents, understandably steep but representative of his immense value. The front office is already deep in contract extension talks. The goal? Lower Smith's immediate cap hit while locking down a long-term enforcer and creating room for a blockbuster reinforcement. Enter Wyatt Teller, the Browns' all-pro guard. A relentless mauler, 3-time Pro Bowler, known league-wide for his power, precision, and football IQ. Teller would be a dream fit in Andy Reid's dynamic offensive scheme. Imagine this: Teller, Smith, and Creed Humphrey anchoring the middle of the line. That's not just solid protection, that's elite dominance. With a wall like that, Mahomes could practically sculpt statues in the pocket, and when he's comfortable, the impossible becomes routine. But this isn't just about protection, it's about philosophy. Trey Smith represents continuity, culture, and calculated growth. Extending him isn't just financial, it's foundational. And it's precisely that cap flexibility that opens the door for Teller's arrival. From the Browns side, there's intrigue. Teller's entering the final year of his deal. Moving him now would free up $7 million, 0 cents in cap space, a classic win-win scenario. Cleveland resets and Kansas City reloads. And Teller wouldn't be a nice addition, he'd be a tone setter. Battle-tested, brutal in the trenches, fearless against the elite defensive fronts of Buffalo, Cincinnati, and the rest of the AFC gauntlet. The Chiefs' offensive line in 2024 was functional, but not fearsome. Thuney's departure left a gap on the left side. The current backup Kingsley Suamataia remains a promising but unproven prospect. Betting on him alone would be risky. Teller, on the other hand, he brings certainty, postseason experience, physicality, leadership, and his presence would allow the Chiefs to shift resources toward other critical areas, like the wide receiver core or defensive depth. That Teller-Smith-Humphrey trio could anchor one of the most dominant interiors in the NFL, unlocking not only protection, but also invigorating the run game, including the Every extra second Mahomes earns in the pocket becomes a potential masterpiece. A routine throw morphs into a viral moment, and a fortified line turns the Chiefs into a full-spectrum threat on the ground and through the air. Now it's your turn, Chiefs Kingdom. Would you go all in on Wyatt Teller, even at a premium price? Or is it smarter to cultivate young linemen like Suamataia and Caliendo? Drop your take in the comments. We want to hear from real fans, real analysts, and real warriors of the Red Sea. And don't forget, like the video, subscribe, and share it with your crew. Together, we're building Brazil's largest Chiefs community, and we're just getting started. If we hit our subscriber goal, we'll bring more analysis, epic throwback comparisons, and maybe even insider interviews. The road to the Super Bowl begins not with touchdowns, but with decisions. Strategic ones, smart ones, championship caliber moves. Let's make them together. Go Chiefs. You better strap in, because what I'm about to unveil about the Kansas City Chiefs is going to send shockwaves through the entire NFL. This isn't just news, it's a seismic revelation. Every franchise in this league better take notes. Smash that like button. Drop a W in the comments if you still believe in the Chiefs dynasty, or an L if you think they're on the verge of unraveling. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because what's coming next could define an era. Watch this full breakdown, because I'm about to reveal why this single decision could either catapult Kansas City into historic three-peat territory or bring the entire empire crashing down. Now, listen closely, football purists, because what's unfolding in Kansas City is the kind of high-stakes, behind-the-scenes chess match that separates dynasties from disillusionment. We're talking about the core of the offensive line, the literal foundation that has shielded Patrick Mahomes like a stone fortress. And right now, that foundation is wobbling atop a financial tightrope. Trey Smith, etch that name in your mind, because he might just be the most pivotal, least talked about weapon in the entire NFL. This isn't just another offensive lineman. This is the difference between Mahomes launching deep bombs in rhythm or scrambling for his life like he's being hunted by a pack of wolves. And right now, the Chiefs are playing the most perilous game in pro football. They're gambling with their legacy. Kansas City has already made its move. They evaluated their salary cap, assessed their roster, and pulled the trigger on a decision that will echo throughout the halls of Arrowhead for years. Joe Thuney, veteran leader, rock of the O-line, and four-time Super Bowl champion, shipped off to Chicago. Salary cap casualty? Maybe, but it's deeper than that. They didn't just let him go. They made room for something younger, more explosive, and potentially transformational, Trey Smith. And here's where it gets white hot. This man is sitting on a franchise tag worth $23,400,000 0 cents. That's not chump change. That's buy your own island money. That's generational legacy wealth. And Kansas City is effectively saying, Trey, we believe in you so deeply, we're willing to stake our dynasty on your shoulders. But here's the twist. The Chiefs have just $10,800,000 0 cents in cap space left. Read that again. They're trying to lock down a $20 million per year asset with half that in the vault. That's like trying to drive a Ferrari off the lot with civic money. GM Brett Veach is about to pull off cap wizardry that would make Cirque du Soleil jealous. Now let's run the numbers. Trey Smith's market value, $19,700,000 0 cents annually. That's a projected 4-year, $78,800,000 0 cents deal. Not just big money, franchise-altering money. And here's the nightmare scenario. If they don't get this deal finalized, they risk losing one of the most elite interior linemen in the entire NFL. Mahomes' magic doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens because he trusts the men in front of him to give him time. Time to read, time to create, time to win. You can buy that trust in free agency. Chemistry on the offensive line is forged through grit, repetition, and pain, through double teams, through picking each other off the turf, through protecting one another's blind sides, physically and spiritually. But this is bigger than just Trey Smith. This is the Chiefs' new blueprint, a philosophical crossroads. Do you ride with young, explosive potential or cling to reliable, battle-tested veterans? Do you build for tomorrow or secure today? It's bold, it's gutsy, it's either masterstroke or misfire, and the timing couldn't be more intense. We are in the throes of a potential three-peat, History is on the line, and Kansas City is effectively rebuilding its offensive wall mid-flight. That takes one of two things: supreme conviction or reckless arrogance. And we're about to find out which one it is, because chemistry isn't instant. Trust isn't microwavable. And dynasties, they aren't built on shortcuts. And Brett Veach, he's not just betting on Trey Smith. He's betting on legacy. Trey Smith isn't just good. Brett Veach is wagering that he's generational, that this young phenom possesses the kind of once-in-a-decade talent that can anchor an empire. Because when an organization bends over backwards, when it performs salary cap sorcery that would make Houdini envious, it's no longer just a financial maneuver. It's a declaration, a belief that this player is the cornerstone of what's to come. But let's get brutally honest. Salary cap acrobatics are a dangerous game. Every time you push dollars into future years, every time you restructure contracts, add void years, and juggle cap hits like circus performers, you're not just massaging numbers, you're borrowing from future victories. And eventually, the bill comes due. Just ask the Saints. Ask the Rams. Teams that once thought they'd outsmarted the system, only to find themselves gasping for air in the cold grip of cap hell. So what makes Brett Veach believe he can walk this tightrope without collapsing Kansas City's championship window? Simple, because he understands something most front offices forget. Championship windows don't last forever. When you have Patrick Mahomes at the peak of his powers, you go all in. You don't flinch at future consequences. You don't settle for playoff contention. You chase immortality. That's the difference between franchises that make headlines and franchises that build dynasties. The Chiefs aren't playing to be good. They're striving to be legendary, to stand shoulder to shoulder with the Patriots, the Cowboys, the Steel Curtain. And to get there, you have to make bold bets. You have to be willing to risk it all on players you believe in, no matter how heavy the burden. But here's what's keeping me up at night, and what should be ringing alarm bells for Chiefs fans everywhere. What if they're wrong? What if Trey Smith goes down? What if he plateaus? What if he never becomes the elite force they envision? What if, because of this massive gamble, they can't afford to re-sign other key pieces? That's the inherent risk of putting all your faith and funds into a single basket. The next few weeks are absolutely pivotal. Each day that passes without a long-term extension is another day of uncertainty clouding the locker room. And believe me, players notice. Coaches notice. Rival teams notice. If Kansas City can't seal this deal, the rest of the league will smell blood. It sends a message that their cap situation may be far more fragile than advertised. But one thing is certain. They didn't trade away Joe Thuney just to let Trey Smith walk. That would be front or malpractice of the highest order. No, this was a deliberate, calculated bet on youth over tenure, upside over legacy. Now, they must double down and follow through, and all eyes are on Brett Veach. He must now pull off a financial miracle under the brightest spotlight in the NFL. Because this isn't just about money. This is about preserving the trust of a fan base that has grown accustomed to nothing less than championship excellence. Chiefs Kingdom doesn't want to hear about cap limitations when their eyes are fixed on a three-peat. But here's what makes this situation even more fascinating: the precedent it sets. If the Chiefs reward Trey Smith with top-tier money, they're sending a message to the entire roster. Perform, and you'll be rewarded. That's promising. Let's hope it gets done. Bottom line, Smith is leading with his actions. No theatrics, just focus, and that deserves respect. Pay the man. Next, Chris Jones, the self-proclaimed CEO of Sack Nation, also spoke with the media today and praised Trey's presence, acknowledging how much energy he brings to the offensive line room. He even joked that he's glad Smith isn't going about his contract situation the same way he did last year, drawing laughs from reporters. For those who recall, Jones held out of training camp, skipped week 1, and watched from the stands as the Chiefs lost to the Lions. That holdout ultimately netted him a restructured one-year deal with incentives, but not the massive extension he wanted at the time. That all changed after the season, of course, when Jones signed a record-setting deal to become the NFL's highest-paid defensive tackle. Hopefully, Trey Smith follows in those footsteps, minus the holdout. Jones also shared that his commitment to OTAs and minicamp this offseason stems from the sting of that Super Bowl defeat. It wasn't just the loss itself. but the way it happened, standing atop the mountain only to fall short. Now, he's more motivated than ever to help lead the charge back to the top. With the team reaching 3 straight Super Bowls and winning 2, this loss reignited their fire. Chris is especially excited about the defensive line's versatility this season. Many of their guys, himself included, along with Charles Omenihu and Mike Dana, can line up both inside and out. That kind of flexibility is invaluable. He also praised rookie DT Omar Norman Lott, calling him an athletic guy who will be ready to roll once training camp is over. No more baby fat, in CJ's words. Notably, Norman Lott is the only Chiefs draft pick who has yet to sign his rookie deal. But don't panic, the delay is largely due to a new precedent. 2 other second-round picks received fully guaranteed contracts, a first in league history. Norman Lott was selected later in the round, so it's unlikely he receives the same, and since he's actively practicing and participating, his unsigned status isn't a concern. Chris also took a moment to recognize second-year lineman Kingsley Suamataia, expected to start at left guard. According to Jones, Kingsley is progressing well, adjusting to the interior position after transitioning from tackle. That's a big development for the offensive line's future. Speaking of linemen, newly signed defensive tackle Jerry Tillery, formerly of the Chargers, shared his excitement about teaming up with Chris Jones instead of facing him. He said having CJ command double teams allows others to play freely, and he's soaking up all the knowledge he can from the All-Pro veteran. Tillery praised the Chiefs' high standards, competitive practices, and championship mindset, saying that's why he's here, to contribute to a winning culture. On the topic of standout performers, rookie third-round corner Nick Williams had another impressive play today, securing an interception during team drills. Linebacker Brandon George, an undrafted free agent with an elite relative athletic score of 9.98, also notched a pick, showing that Raw's athleticism and instincts are translating well on the field. From top-tier veterans to rising rookies, the Chiefs minicamp is already proving to be a blend of business, intensity, and hunger for another title run. During today's team drills, both Null Williams and Brandon George hauled in interceptions, continuing their impressive offseason momentum. Safety Chamari Connor added to the defensive highlight reel with a superb pass breakup. However, it wasn't all defense dominating. Cornerback Christian Fulton was in tight coverage on Justin Ross, but Ross elevated and high-pointed the ball over him for a spectacular grab. Similarly, wideout Jason Brownlee made a contested catch over safety Brian Cook, showcasing the offensive playmaker's ability to win reps. This ebb and flow is exactly what you expect in these high-level practices. One play the defense shines, the next the offense retaliates. Among the offensive standouts was none other than Travis Kelce, who was not only present but also dialed in. According to Chiefs senior reporter Matt McMullen, both Kelce and Rashee Rice recorded touchdowns during red zone work. Kelce even delivered a dazzling one-handed snag across the middle, a sign that the 13-year veteran is still operating at an elite level. Another veteran who impressed? Juju Smith-Schuster, who reportedly made several sharp grabs throughout the day. That's encouraging considering Juju may occasionally be overlooked in this offense, with Kelce, Rice, and even rookie Jalen Royals demanding attention. But Juju thrives in zone coverage and knows how to find the soft spots, something Patrick Mahomes will absolutely exploit. Smith-Schuster is poised to benefit tremendously in this reloaded aerial attack. Simmons surging back offensive tackle Josh Simmons also spoke with reporters, and the takeaway was overwhelmingly positive. He's ahead of schedule in his rehab and participating in team activities, a welcome development. Simmons shared that he's committed to being as available as possible, sometimes attending multiple rehab sessions and practice reps per day. He wants to be ready to step in should Jalen Moore or any other lineman need a breather. Speaking of Moore, who was signed to a 2-year, $30 million 0-cents deal and is projected to start at left tackle, Jesse Newell of the Kansas City Star reported that he remained limited once again, sitting out team drills due to an undisclosed injury. While this has been ongoing for a few weeks, unless Moore is still absent when training camp opens in 5-6 weeks, there's little cause for concern at this time. Simmons credited the Chiefs' elite training staff for accelerating his recovery from knee surgery. He's taking a day-by-day approach and staying mentally ready for whatever role the coaching staff envisions for him. He even shared that Andy Reid has been offering daily post-practice mentorship, walking him through Mahomes' decision-making process and defensive reads, which Simmons finds incredibly valuable as he adjusts to the speed and complexity of the NFL. Overall, Simmons came across as confident, focused, and deeply motivated. And if Jalen Moore doesn't heal up in time, Simmons could find himself protecting Mahomes on opening day, though the team won't rush that timeline unless he's 100% medically cleared. Hollywood Brown. Healthy and hungry, another player rebounding from injury is wide receiver Marquise Hollywood Brown. After suffering a sternoclavicular dislocation last season and playing sparingly down the stretch, Brown appears rejuvenated, both mentally and physically. He's been diligently training, reshaping his body, and retooling his game. Brown told reporters he's grateful to be back in Kansas City and eager to build on last year's limited momentum. He insists he feels like his old self again and is ready to deliver on expectations, and I believe him. Both he and Charles Omenihu are on one-year prove-it contracts coming off abbreviated campaigns that didn't match their personal standards. Omenihu recovering from an ACL tear and Brown returning from a significant shoulder injury weren't at full strength last year, but now both appear re-energized and committed to making an impact. Hollywood even mentioned that this is the deepest and most competitive wide receiver room he's ever been part of. With Rashee Rice healthy, Xavier Worthy stepping into year 2, and Kelsey still operating like a legend, this unit is locked in. They push each other every day, they know the system, they can play every position, and most importantly, they're competing hard for targets in each rep. The camaraderie is real, but so is the fire. See, when you're the Kansas City Chiefs and you've scaled the NFL summit multiple times, every decision is scrutinized under a microscope, like an insect pinned in a lab. Every draft pick, every free agent signing, every trade, it all matters because the margin for error narrows to razor-thin levels when you're trying to sustain greatness. And that's precisely where we find ourselves today, discussing a move that could define the next decade of Chiefs football. The 2025 NFL Draft came and went, and while most fans were laser-focused on the flashy top picks, something intriguing was brewing down at pick number 32. Now, I know what you're thinking. Pick 32, that's just the last pick of the first round. What's the big deal? Let me tell you, that mindset is exactly why so many people miss the forest for the trees when it comes to constructing championship rosters. True dynasties aren't built on just the top 5 picks that everybody obsesses over on social media. They're forged in the fire of identifying hidden gems where others see risk, spotting raw talent where others see question marks, and having the guts to make bold decisions when the stakes are sky high. And that's precisely what Kansas City did when they stepped up to the podium and announced their selection. The name that echoed through the draft was Josh Simmons, an offensive tackle from Ohio State University. Now, before you roll your eyes and mutter another offensive lineman, how thrilling, let me break down why this pick could either be the steal of the draft or the haunting misstep that shadows this franchise for years. That builds trust. It builds culture. It's how dynasties attract and retain premier talent. But it also raises the stakes, because once you're paid like an elite player, you're expected to perform like one. There's no room for average when you carry a premium paycheck, especially if it costs the team future signings. Make no mistake, Trey Smith is now playing with a target on his back, not just from opposing defenses, but from fans, analysts, and front office calculators who will measure every snap against that contract. And the ripple effect? It will cascade through every other decision the Chiefs make, every re-signing, every free agent, every draft pick. All of it filtered through this lens. Was betting on Trey Smith worth it? Because Kansas City is effectively reshaping their entire cap philosophy around one iron belief: protecting Patrick Mahomes is worth any price. And honestly, they may be right. In today's NFL, quarterback protection isn't a luxury, it's survival. Just ask any team that watched their season die the moment their quarterback hit the turf. The Chiefs have already lived that lesson, and now they're writing a new chapter in real time. So here's my challenge to every member of Chiefs Kingdom. This is your defining moment. Will you panic at the sight of cap turbulence, or will you trust the vision? Will you back Veach as he reshapes the future, or question every aggressive move he makes? Because dynasties aren't just built on talent, They're built on unity, on unwavering belief from the top and from the fans who carry the flag. The clock is ticking. The stakes have never been higher. The entire NFL is watching. Will Kansas City lock in their cornerstone protector or watch him walk away and roll the dice all over again? The answer might just determine whether we're witnessing the rise of a dynasty or the end of an era. Let me know your take in the comments. Smash that like if this opened your eyes, and hit that subscribe button. Because what's coming next? It's going to rewrite the legacy of the Kansas City Chiefs. Thank you guys. See you next video.